A land of unrivaled natural beauty, of stunning landscapes as far as the eye can see. An abundance of exotic wildlife from the jungles to the savannas. From 1964 to 1979, a brutal war raged between the ruling mostly white British minority and two communist insurgent groups. The communist insurgents were backed by Mao's Red Chinese Army. A peace accord was signed in 1979 which gave the British temporary control, but elections were called, and the Communist African National Union, led by Robert Mugabe, took full control. Shortly after, the country descended into chaos under Mugabe's dictatorial rule. Opposition political parties were banned, opponents of the regime were jailed and in many cases murdered. Zimbabwe's Great Leap Forward. Mugabe instituted strict agrarian reform. This included redistribution of property. Rhodesia, now Zimbabwe, the former breadbasket of Africa, was soon unable to feed its own people. River Financial reported from 1998 to 2007, the inflation rate of the Zimbabwean dollar rose rapidly, peaking at 79 billion %. Hyperinflation caused by economic and monetary mismanagement by Zimbabwe's president, Robert Mugabe. From the BBC, May 2019, who will pay compensation? Thousands of white farmers lost their farms, sometimes violently, in 2001 under a government program of land reform. The seizures were blamed for destroying Zimbabwe's economy. Mugabe was pushed out of power in 2015, but the country remained in a state of de facto civil war and economic chaos. Cecil Rhodes. Cecil Rhodes was a committed British colonialist. He owned the largest diamond mining company in Africa. In the 1890s, he founded Rhodesia. Rhodes has been described as a social Darwinist. He viewed the Anglo-Saxons as uniquely capable of bringing about the betterment of the human race. But he also had a benevolent side. Quote, I can never accept the position that we should disqualify a human being on account of his color. End quote. As biographer and BBC documentary producer Robin Brown notes, Rhodes was of the era of British reformers who caused slavery to be outlawed. Rhodes was also a swashbuckling explorer. He was a tireless advocate for bringing the African continent into the modern era and away from what he called, quote-unquote, barbarism. Rhodes helped to launch massive infrastructure projects including highways, hydroelectric, and intercontinental railways. Rhodesian Man discovery. The Kabwe Skull was discovered during mining operations in Broken Hill, northern Rhodesia. It was discovered by a Swiss mining worker, Tom Zwigler, during metal ore mining. It is considered to be the absolute best preserved ancient hominin skull in human history. Note aside, as a white male, Zwigler has been increasingly erased from historical accounts of the discovery of the Kabwe Skull. Anthropologist Arthur Smith Woodward of the London Royal Society immediately traveled to Rhodesia to examine the skull. He declared it a direct ancestor to modern humans. Smith Woodward thusly established the continent of Africa as playing an important role in human origins. Quote, the Kabwe mine left a happier legacy, one that all of humankind can celebrate. A fossilized skull of a possible human ancestor dubbed Rhodesian Man, end quote. Michael Balter, writer, Scientific American. Taxonomy of Kabwe. For decades, the precise dating and taxa of Kabwe were unclear. Most paleoanthropologists classified it as Afro-Heidelbergensis. Study 2019, Dating of the Skull from Broken Hill, Rainer Grun. It has often been included in the taxon Homo heidelbergensis. The cranium is often estimated to be around 500,000 years old. Here we carried out analysis directly on the skull and found a best age estimate of 299,000 years. Discover 2019, the Kabwe skull. Timing coincides with when human evolution experts think Homo sapiens diverged from more archaic hominins in Africa. The Kabwe skull, prominent brow ridges, globular-shaped brain case could represent a transitional step in human evolution. Anti-Western bias. Despite the end of Mugabe's regime, the Chinese communist influence and control over Zimbabwe's government still remains strong. Communists have pushed their African subordinates to erase the last vestiges of white colonial rule. In 2021, 4 academics with ties to left-wing institutions curiously put out a paper urging that the name Homo rhodesiensis be dropped. Paper. We recommend the following: suppressing the taxa Homo heidelbergensis and Homo rhodesiensis and introducing a new taxon, Homo bodoensis. Как дела? Очень приятно. Вы понимаете по-русски? Я не понимаю только немного по-русски. До свидания. Quote, Homo rhodesiensis should be abandoned, particularly in light of the current sensitivity to culturally insensitive names, end quote. Marjana Roksandik, Winnipeg University, Canada. 你好吗？很高兴认识你。我会说一点中文，你明白吗？ Quote, Homo rhodesiensis was a poorly defined term that was never widely recognized in science owing to its problematic English imperialist Cecil Rhodes, end quote. Xiu Jue Wu, Chinese Academy of Sciences. Defenders of Western civilization fight back. Linnean Society statement, quote, although the Commission recognizes that some scientific names may cause discomfort or offense, such as historical figures considered by some as racist, the commitment of a stable and universal nomenclature remains a priority, end quote. Notably, it was the universally admired Dean of Paleoanthropology, Chris Stringer of the London Natural History Museum, who tweeted out the statement from the Linnean Society. Additionally, a letter was sent out by the International Commission on Zoological Nomenclature in support of keeping Homo rhodesiensis. Professor Stringer was recently honored for lifetime achievement in advancing the science of paleoanthropology by the Royal Anthropological Institute. On a recent YouTube podcast, Stringer doubled down, quote, Homo rhodesiensis, actually the name I prefer for the African forms that were there 3, 4, 500,000 years ago. Another primitive form of human, a bit like Homo erectus, end quote. Thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and please pass this video on to others. There's more to come on Homo rhodesiensis.